Morning, friends, and welcome to CJoy Yoga, or maybe it's not morning when you're doing this. I'm filming this in the early morning. I tried to film this yesterday, and the audio was funky. So here we go again. The Ujjayi breath. It translates from Sanskrit into English as victorious breath. And it's the breath that most often is called for in the majority of classes that I have taken and been in anyway. And I think it's often just called out, Ujjayi breath, without really being taught. I am guilty of that as well. I don't teach it all the time. And so I want to break it down a little bit because, you know, as I was talking about some of the other videos, this air element that we're working with this week, it is the breath, it's the prana, the life force and the energy that moves through you, and it's one of the elemental pieces of life. We can go without water for a little bit, we can go without food or shelter for a little bit. We cannot go without air for very long before we start to have issues when oxygen doesn't get to our tissues and it causes major damage. So, Ujjayi breath. The way I'm going to talk you into it initially, just to kind of feel it out, is it is a slight restriction of the glottis muscle. It's the same muscle that you use to whisper. So if you whisper, you might feel it, right? And we're going to do another kind of, I don't know, some people think it's silly, but I think it's brilliant. It's the very first muscle we learn to use when we're babies, when we're starting to learn to talk. And so with your awareness in the back of your throat, say goo, goo, goo. And then say ga, ga, ga. Ga for me is a little stronger, the sensation of feeling it than goo. But whatever, you know, whatever it is that you feel, but goo, 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 ga, ga, ga. You can say that a couple of times, and that's going to put you in touch with the muscle that we're going to contract. So there's a slight restriction at the back of the throat. It's called the whisper breath. It's called the oceanic breath, right? All kinds of nicknames. So that said, have any of you ever fogged up a mirror like when you were a kid, or a window so you could write in it? Pardon me, I'm fidgeting with my mic pack. That is also the muscles. So put your hands in front of your mouth, your hand in front of your mouth. Take an inhale through the nose, all inhales through the nose, please. And then when you exhale, you're going to fog up the mirror, right? Do that again. Inhale through the nose. And maybe that hand is a helpful tool. Fog up the mirror. Now, this time, inhale through the nose. Keep the mouth closed. Exhale through the nose, but keep that same quality of trying to fog up the mirror. Do that one more time. Inhale through the nose, and you'll exhale through the nose as well. Mouth is now closed, trying to, right, find that same quality of breath. And you can keep doing that, and that's a great way to start to learn the Ujjayi breath. It's easiest to find on the exhale, the restriction of the glottis muscle, but now try to find it on the inhale as well. So again, just a contraction of the glottis muscle. I'm going to over-exaggerate mine so you can really hear what that sounds like. I'm doing it loudly. We're not doing it for the whole world to hear and know how amazing we are at the Ujjayi breath. Think of it as a whisper. It's something that you can hear. Maybe your person right next to you can hear if you were in a yoga class on either side, but it's not something that your teacher or someone across the room should be able to hear. So here we go, Ujjayi breath. Maybe close the eyes now that you know what's going on. All breaths are now in and out through the nostrils. And first, just concentrate on finding that contraction in the throat, the restriction at the back of the throat. But then once you feel like you've got that down pretty good, start to find that soft belly breath quality, right? The belly's so soft that the belly moves on the breath. Maybe your inhales begin to deepen and your exhales begin to lengthen. So this is the soft belly breath, the diaphragmatic breathing, with the restriction put on top of it, yeah? So it's an adding on. Find your rhythm, your pace that feels right to you in this moment. No stress, no strain, just a slight restriction at the back of the throat. And we're going to add one more piece to this, and that is, can you find 4 parts to each cycle of breath? There's the inhale, and then there's a slight pause, the exhale, and at the bottom of the exhale, another slight pause. How slight of a pause? Feel it out. It shouldn't feel stressed or strained. And it's just a moment after the inhale and another moment after the exhale. You might notice that when you're doing this breath, it takes quite a bit of concentration and focus. That is one of the points. We're cultivating that. With the restriction, we're literally slowing down the flow of air. So that it takes a little more effort to get the air in and out. And this can be a really great tool for strengthening the breathing apparatus. And there are about 25 more reasons to do this breath, but those are the main ones, right? Today. Let's take about 3 more of those Ujjayi breaths, victorious breaths. And one more time, the way I like to think about it, it is the soft belly breath, which is also called diaphragmatic breath, that we often do in class. And we're simply adding a restriction of the glottis muscle at the back of the throat. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. Inhale. Exhale, bow your head in. Just a moment of gratitude that you gave yourself this space and time, friends. Namaste. And by the way, this breath isn't just for yoga classes. It's a breath you can bring in anywhere, any time of day. And it's a really easy one to slip in. Your eyes can be wide open and no one even has to know that you're doing it. And it's just a really, really great way to help balance your air element, to help just slow and calm down the central nervous system, even the peripheral nervous system, honestly, right? So you might just play with that now that you have learned it. Be well, friends.